Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And it's the first game of the season, so we are back doing a live pregame show, which I can't wait to get into. Get back to doing these. I think I did one for the last preseason game, but otherwise, this is something that we used to get into all the time, so we're going to get into that. But first, got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Hey, I'm just looking at the intro. I can't wait. I know I'm going to have to get some Dalen Terry highlights in there, right? Because we know he's going to have some highlights of the season. This is what I want you guys to do, right? Before we start, the intro. Anytime during this NBA season, for a highlight that you want to see in the intro, send it to me. We'll do it. We'll go over it. I'll add it. Maybe that'll be like a weekly thing, a fan part of the intro. But it is what it is. Let's go ahead and get into these comments, man. I think the reason they're deciding to hold Levine out tonight is because we all know the Heat are one of the most, if not the hardest playing teams in the league. Not ideal first game for Zach. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I really don't. I think that looking at the way that it went down, I think, he was always going to sit one of the games of the back-to-back. But I think they want to make sure he's there by the home opener. I think that. And then I also look at it and maybe they just think like, hey, DeMar and Vooch are enough to get it done against the Miami Heat. Factor in somebody else having a big game, possibly, right? But I don't necessarily think it's them because he's going to be played hard all season. Like, you can't avoid a player being played tough against when they can be top 10 in the league in scoring like Zach LaVine can. So I don't necessarily think that that's it. I'm not saying you're wrong either, right? My opinion holds no more weight than yours. It's just not necessarily how I see it going down. But, I could completely be wrong on that, right? Completely. It does suck that we're not going to have Zach LaVine out there for the home opener, though. That's for sure. Stephen Gordon says C-Red is game day. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. I've been looking forward to this day for so long. All the C-Reds in the chat from the OGs. Ivan, I am Scocks in the building. What's going on, fam? Let's see. Ready to see Vooch do some work down low tonight. Let's go. Under 10 turnovers as well. Listen, Vooch has been playing his ass off this preseason, right? He's come in, he's done basically everything that we called out, everything that we wanted to see him go back to doing. He's found a way to adapt Orlando style Vooch to being the third option. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to go back to being the 20 plus per game scorer he may be tonight, especially with Zach LaVine being out. But I do think his efficiency is going to be super high for him tonight. And I love the way that they're going to him from the inside out. I love that. If load management is going to be occurring this season for Zach, then I'm concerned. Every game is going to matter for us. Well, I mean, every game technically matters for each team, but what you hope is that you still have DeMar, you still have Vooch. Hopefully Patrick Williams steps up. This is, again, a big night to see what Patrick Williams does with not having Zach LaVine out there. But listen, load management was always going to be part of it. I've been saying that since offseason. He's going to have load management. He's probably going to miss about 10 to 12 games of just load management scheduled this season, if not more. It doesn't really have me concerned because the way that I look at it is by the playoffs, you're not getting no load management in the playoffs. So hopefully during the regular season, we do that. The fact of the matter is the Bulls, I keep saying this, right? Yes, the East has gotten loaded. The East has improved. But a lot of those teams, I don't see better than a fully healthy Bulls team. I just don't. Now we need to stay fully healthy. So we'll see what happens with that. Maddie, he says, glad to be back. Love y'all. Hope it's been going well. Man, listen, this offseason hopefully it's been treating everybody well. My disappointment level is at 8,000%, but I still think we can take this game. Go Bulls. That's from Sue Much. Yeah, I think we can still definitely take this game. Now we'll see, right? Both teams are going to be motivated. They're missing some key players as well. But I think at the end of the day, when you look at how the Bulls are now trying to implement this offense, an emotion-based offense, a read and react type offense, Javonte can get off. We can see that. Kobe can absolutely get off, coming off more motion of the ball. This is where he hopefully can feast at if he can stay consistent as well. I think is gonna take a lead. Patrick Williams. So we'll see, right? The Bulls still have enough, I think, to win this game if everybody plays well and they execute. The thing is, we know the Miami Heat can turn up the defensive intensity. I hope that the Bulls don't default back to the same things that they did last season once it starts getting a little tough in the second, the third quarters, things like that. We'll see. We'll see. Who do you have starting tonight, Caruso, Javonte, or Kobe? I'm thinking Javonte doesn't start just by the nature of he's their only backup four. So just because of it, they could start him at the 2. And I think Javonte could play damn well at the 2. But I think because he's their only backup 4 that can play the 4, yeah, they have Derrick Jones Jr., but I just don't think that – I don't see Billy Donovan believing in Derrick Jones Jr. Now, if he does, then that changes some things. But I think it's going to be Kobe or Caruso. I think it may be Caruso, just period, because you look at – even if Kobe moves into the starting lineup, Goran's going to get more minutes off the bench. Having Caruso and Goran coming off the bench, both with their passing, being veterans from Goran and things like that, I think that they can sustain a little bit better. It's going to put people like Javonte, like Andre Drummond in better positions to score, and Dragic do a lot of the shooting, and Caruso do his thing. Caruso's just Caruso. So that I think it's going to be Kobe White starting, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Alex Caruso either. Vooch going to have a double-double, 4 assists and a block. Hey, from your mouth to God's ears, brother. I hope he has more than that. Like the fact of the matter is, we had a preseason game where Vooch had 3 blocks. Like, Vooch is locked in, at least in preseason. We need to see if it's going to carry over to the regular season, right? We need to see that. But if it does, if Vooch is locked in on both sides of the ball like that, it changes big things for the Chicago Bulls. Is he still the best one-on-one defender? Hell no, he's not. But the way that he was, his off-the-ball defense, just him being more aware of the space on the floor, closing out that space, using his length to deter people from getting to the rim. If we see that type of Vooch consistently throughout the season, do not be surprised if Vooch averages a 1.5 blocks per game. He already averaged a block per game last season. Don't be surprised if it's a little bit more than that with the way that he's been played. I still don't fully get it, to be honest. Klay played last night and he's still being managed, and they played the Lakers. Not really worried, but it's very weird. Again, completely different teams. Teams do load management different. Yes, he's also on load management, but it's completely different. I also think that it was ring night for the Warriors. If it was ring night for the Chicago Bulls, Zach would have played even if it was only 15 minutes. Completely different type of makeup. This is, while a big game against a marquee team in the East, they have that matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers at home, no less, and against a team that now so many people were saying, hey, with their moves, they're now better than the Bulls. So maybe, just maybe, that's what it is. Keep in mind, this season, the first 2 weeks of the season are tough for the Bulls. So they're trying to probably get Zach rest where they can because they have 2 back-to-backs in the first 2 weeks of the season. We play Friday and Saturday this week. We play Friday and Saturday next week as well. So it's going to be some load management here up front. And then the schedule gets kind of easier and a little bit more space about 8 games into the season. Probably see Zach play a lot of those games in between the 8 game to like game 15, and then probably get some more rest management just looking at the schedule and how it works out. But they're going to get Zach. The Bulls have so many back-to-backs front-loaded in the first 2 months. Because of that, you're going to see probably more load management for Zach at the beginning of the season than you do later in the season. So that's just my thoughts on it, looking at the schedule and kind of breaking things down. I could still be completely off as well. Aaron says, it's concerning because Zach rested all summer and he said he was healed up. If it's simply knee management, then start him tonight. It's not that simple. Not when it's knees. Like, did he have all summer? Keep in mind, he was rehabbing. So it's not just resting, right? And then when you rehab and then you come back, you're kind of working that, you're learning to trust that knee again. You're getting that knee used to being worked again. Again, I'm not excusing it. I think Zach should play tonight. Like I said, even if it's 12 minutes, I think Zach should play tonight. But when you get to that load management thing, it's not just as simple as, hey, you had all summer. It's not really that, because you have to push that knee. And maybe they've been having really tough practices. A little bit of glimpses we've seen, it seems like they've had intense practices. I don't know. Again, I'm not there. I'm just trying to be fair and talk from it from both ends. But like the way that I see it, I do think that even a limited Zach LaVine playing tonight would have been better than Zach not playing at all on open night to start the season, knowing everything that surrounded Zach LaVine last season and the surgery and still the Lonzo Ball thing. That's my opinion. I think it sets a bad precedent for your fan base. But again, they're not really worried about a precedent for the fan base. They're worried about keeping Zach LaVine healthy for hopefully a playoff run. So I would start Goran Dragic. A lot of people say that Goran just – listen, while Goran's look good, Goran got about 10 to 12 minutes high-quality basketball for you. Anything after that 12-minute mark, that man's old. And you can tell – even when Goran looked good out there in preseason, you can tell he gets winded. If you start Goran, you might as well – you only start him if you're doing the Keith Bogans thing. That's it. He starts – play the first 10 minutes. You don't see him the rest of the first half. He comes in, plays another 8 to 10 minutes in the second half. You don't see him the rest of it. So I think Gordon's more important off the bench. When you look at what they're trying to do with ball movement, I think Gordon's more important off the bench. In my opinion, again, I could very well be wrong. What's going on with Lonzo? I think we know what's going on with Lonzo Kush. I think we know what's going on with him, bro. Like, if it makes sense when you hear that he had cartilage fragments in his knee on that nerve, it kind of makes sense. Why? Because the surgery, I think there's some not misinformation, but there's some misunderstanding from the fan base on what the problem is with Lonzo. The initial surgery went fine. It's not that they had to go in there and clean up or fix anything that went wrong in the initial surgery. That meniscus is good to go. It was the fact that he kept getting pain, and it seems like that pain was due to some loose cartilage being in his knee and hitting a nerve, so they got that out of there. That's what it seems like. Now, if we get a different update, then we may change that. For example, like I had surgery. I have a big scar on the back of my neck. I had surgery I had a tumor in the back of my neck. I had to get that removed. And then when I went back I was a little still tense in there and stuff like that, and I had pieces of the tumor still in my neck, so they had to take it out. So it, again, completely different. Sorry, I'm not a doctor. Completely different comparison, but sometimes it's just stuff like that. Smear60 says, let's be honest, every game doesn't matter for Golden State. They are locked 5 seed. Well, again, I think sometimes we put an overimportance. It's not. Is every game going to be tough? Yes, for the Chicago Bulls. But if you're playing well, you can take a game of rest management. Let's wait to see how these Bulls perform. If they come out and everybody looks flat, then that's when we can say, well, every game is matter. We just threw this one away. But you hope that you have to trust in your team. If you're the coach, you have to trust in your team and trust in your game plan. If they rested Zach, and again, they're facing a strategist and Eric Spoelstra on the other side of the ball. But if they're resting Zach in this game, that means that they have confidence that they can still win this game. They're not throwing it up. We'll see this next man up mentality. It has to still be that because Zach is going to need rest this season. DeMar hopefully gets more rest in the second half of the season. It just kind of is what it is, brother. If Joel gets injured, it's over for the 76ers due to them not having a true backup center, so I have the Bulls over them. Hot take. Wow, Malika, that is a very hot take. Listen, the Sixers have owned, since Joel Embiid's been there, have owned them. I'm not willing to pick. And the Sixers, and outside of that, let's take the Embiid part out of it. I love Ayo Dosunmu. Maxey cooked Ayo Dosunmu's ass every time they played last season. Maxey cooked him. And we don't have Lonzo to defend James Harden anymore. So, I wouldn't necessarily, I get what you're getting at. And yes, a lot of that is pinned around Joel Embiid, and they are a very different team with Joel Embiid not there. But I need to see it, right? I'm very much a see it person. I need to see this team compete because Maxey was cooking the Bulls last season. Shout out to Tyrese Maxey, by the way. Billy Donovan's Gum says, I've been a Chicago Bulls fan for about 13 years, and not once have I properly known what the fuck is going on with the health of my players. I disagree. I've been a Bulls fan for, I'm 35 years old for about 30 of those years. So we know what's going on, and a lot of this thing has nothing to do with the medical staff. People blame the medical staff. It ain't got nothing to do with that, per se. Now, back in Luol Deng's management, how the Bulls almost killed him and things like this, yes, there were some very bad things with our medical staff. But this is more than that. So the fact of the matter is every organization isn't very transparent at all when it comes to injuries. They're just not. There are some that are more transparent than others, but generally NBA teams aren't very transparent when it comes to this type of thing. It is what it is, man. I'm not saying it's right? I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just saying that you kind of it's per the course when you're an NBA fan. Shay in the building. If there is any game that Patrick Williams should look to go off, it's tonight because the Miami Heat do not have PJ Tucker anymore. I don't see nobody at the power forward spot that can guard him. Again, it's all about Patrick Williams' mind, right? I don't mean to do the R. Kelly thing to think, but again, hopefully Patrick learns something, because once P. Will decides and learns that, hey, when I play with energy, when I play with some aggression, when I go after these rebounds and take it back up hard, I'm either going to get the bucket or y'all about to foul me, and then I'm going to go to the free throw line, which he needs to tighten up that free throw shooting a little bit. But we'll see. I hope that he does go off. I'm just confused. If they wanted to do load management, why did they let him play 3 Well, keep in mind, he's still load managed in the preseason game, but the preseason was important to take a look. That was his first time playing basketball since the playoffs, so that was needed. That was needed, and they kept. If he was playing 30 minutes in preseason, I'd be right there with you. But he sat one game. He played 17 minutes in like 2 games, so they definitely did load management with him, but the preseason is needed to get players in rhythm, to get this team in rhythm. They're implementing a new offense. It was needed for him to be out there. In my opinion, it was needed for him to be out there. Smear60 says playoffs aren't a given. In a stacked East, you have to make it. If Zach misses 12, I disagree with that. I disagree that we're then in the play-in tournament. I disagree. We missed games with Zach that we absolutely won, and people stepped up. We still have DeMar DeRozan, who, even if you do need to go to ice ball, is either going to get a bucket or get to the free throw line. With the improved play of Nikola Vucevic, I still don't think that. I'm telling you that. So you might as well just say, in your opinion, we're going to be a playoff team, because Zach is going to miss more than 12 games this season with load management. He's absolutely going to do that. I can guarantee you can write that home right now. Matter of fact, I think with load management on top of just some games where he has some soreness or something, Zach is probably going to miss about 15 to 18 games this season. It's going to happen. But what you need to do is you need to implement a game plan to contend. Yes, the East is going to be tough, but let's not forget, we had a team that was led by Nate Robinson that still led us to 50 wins, missing Derrick Rose. It really just depends on how this team comes together and plays. We can't just write it off yet. We haven't seen how the team comes together. We haven't seen how this team and this new look offense with the improved bench, that's a big thing as well. Having a bench that is definitely not going to be ranked 29th in scoring this season, the Bulls are going to be more competitive than what I think you're giving them credit for, Smear60. I definitely think they're going to be more competitive than what you're thinking. We got to beat top teams to get to the promised land. Yes, absolutely. We have to this season. I've been saying that we have to this season fare better. And we got a lot of those matchups in these first 2 weeks. In just the first 2 weeks of the season, we got a lot of matchups against top teams. So that rhetoric of the Bulls can't beat top teams is either going to be proven true or proven false. This in just the first 2 weeks. Let's go over the schedule real quick. We got Miami, then Washington, then Cleveland, then Boston, Indiana, San Antonio, then Philly, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Boston, Toronto. Then New Orleans, Denver, New Orleans again, Orlando, Boston, Milwaukee. That's all before the end of November. This first 30 days of the season, that rhetoric of the Bulls can't beat top teams is either going to be proven or it's going to be proven false. It's no in-betweens about it. Even if we split them 50-50, we were 2-28 against the top 4 teams in each conference last season. So even if we split those games that I just mentioned, that puts us better. Let's say we go 50. Hell, let's say we go 45% against those. That's still more wins than what we had in the against the top teams in just the first month of the season. Let's see. I'm trying to avoid all the same questions about the load management. Listen, we here, man. What up, Haize fan? We back and we back and we back. Chance the Rapper voice. Let's get it. From producer HAC. Man, listen, we are back. Period. That's what it is, man. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Because listen, as I've said it before, and I know it sounds cocky and I really don't give a fuck that it does anymore, there's nobody dropping Bulls content with the frequency, the quality, and everything that I do. It's not. By the end of today, I will have dropped 5 videos on this channel today, and just today, in the 24 hours. There's nobody doing it like we doing it here, man. And that's because of you guys, right? That's not because of me. Because if it wasn't for you guys, I'd be sitting in here streaming by my goddamn self like a lot of streamers do. They be in their motherfucker podcasting to their damn selves. Luckily, you guys fuck with me. That's all I can say with that. Caruso is starting. All right, that got announced. Let's go ahead and verify that. Let me just double check my sources with that one. But, hey, it makes sense that he is starting. Absolutely makes sense that Caruso would get the start. I don't see it. I don't see it. I do see that they flexed the Bulls. Looks like the Bulls versus Brooklyn Nets have been flexed and now will be on TNT on November 1st. So we get another nationally televised game. This is after ESPN flexed out of a Bulls game a little bit ago. So shout out to that. That's a good thing. I don't see anything reported yet, but I could just not be where I am right now. JD8 says he's in a bad mood, man. Listen, that's crazy, fam. That's crazy. Producer HAC says Maxie and Io have been going at it since high school. Io is going to get it back this year. Hopefully, bro. I want to see Io go on one of those stretches where it literally is like he's just every marquee point guard. He's like, listen, I may not be able to score with you, but you're not finna score on me. Like, I just want to see that because Io has that in him, right? And when you hear him talk, he definitely has it in him. Hell no. You can keep Mr. Glass on that team. Look, watching the Lakers last night, and I was actually going to talk about this over on NBA Central. Anthony Davis is just a really, really good basketball player now. He's just a regular guy at this point, right? Still good when he's on, but like it's almost all that specialness about Anthony Davis is gone at this point. Like just watching him out there, like he's still good, right? But he's just a good basketball player now. Like he's not great. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. Anthony, listen, y'all misplaced y'all anger so much. You do know that the coaching staff in the front office decided on this, right? Zach didn't wake up and said, hey, you know what? I'm not playing today. Coach, Billy. You know, in fact, hold on. Hey, Billy Donovan, yeah, I'm in the hotel. Yeah, I flew to Miami. I'm here. Yeah, you know what, Billy, I'm not even going to play tonight. Yeah, you can go ahead. I'm not even going to play tonight. I don't feel like it. Like my knee's a little tender, so I think I'm going to chill in the hotel room tonight. Yeah, I'll come to the game. I'll put on my jacket. I'll be there. But that second half, I'm out, especially if y'all losing. Yeah. That's not how the goddamn conversation went. They called Zach LaVine into the office. They took a look at the schedule, and they made the decision, man. Calm down, y'all. Calm down. Kyle talking and said, we back. Who do you think scores 20 plus tonight outside of DeMar and Vooch? I don't know if those two score 20 plus, I don't think we need another player to score 20 plus. But if I'm saying who has the biggest game outside of those, it may not be scoring wise, but I think Drummond is going to go, especially considering that the Miami Heat don't have the biggest front court. If Drummond gets out in transition with Caruso, with Dragic, I think Drummond is going to have a 10, 12, and 5 game. 10 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists from Andre Drummond coming off the bench. Adam in the building says, keen for the new season and more amazing content from Chicago Bulls Central. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. By the way, did you guys check out my interview over on Bulls Nation Station with Tony? Make sure you go and check him out, bro. He's the next one up. Like, for real, he's the next one up. I love the way that Tony goes about his content. I love how consistent he is. I love that he just gives his thoughts. He don't try to give any flair or anything like that. He's just real. Haize, how can you seem like such a cheerleader when opening night is obviously disappointing for so many of us? No Zoe, no Zach. Patrick Williams still iffy. I'm not feeling this at all. Period. It's because this is basketball. Like, if it's all gloom and doom, then wrap up the season. Period. Then you can go ahead and don't even watch. Because at the end of the day, we still have players out here that can perform. I feel like it's disrespectful to the other players on this team to say, hey, we don't have Zoe, we don't have Zach. I don't even want to watch this team. We still got competitors on this team. You can't, to me, it's disrespectful to the heart that DeMar DeRozan puts in the game to then be down on this team. Vooch has improved a lot in the offseason and just the way he goes about his business. I would assume who we all seem to love and believe in highly is still going to be a player that's a dog that goes out and gets it. Javante, his improvement this season, Andre Drummond coming in wanting to improve some things. Like, there's so much work being done on this team that I'm not, and you guys know, when Bulls were winning, I was telling y'all last season, hey, the way the Bulls are playing, they about to start losing and losing ugly. And people were like, I'm confused, Haize, did we win or didn't we? And I'm like, hey, all right, watch it. The way we're playing is going to be bad. But at the end of the day, the work that these players have put in the offseason, the fact that the improvement is there, right? We need to see if it's going to be there in the regular season. I feel like it would be disrespectful for me to be all gloom and doom just because Zach LaVine isn't started. We know Lonzo wasn't going to be there. Patrick Williams being iffy, okay, he's been iffy his whole career. Is this a wake-up call for that? Like, it's not on that. At the end of the day, they can't prove it or come out of that stigma if they're not playing. That's why you play the games. So they coming in to play to hopefully prove a lot of those doubters wrong. And I, for one, am excited to see this team have the chance to be able to do that, period. Hopefully we see Dalen with decent minutes tonight. I would love to see how he acts and plays against a quality team. Well, let's see. I've always said, like, it's going to be interesting to see how they work Dalen Terry. And now, with the absence of Zach LaVine, it opens up more minutes, of course, for that. But I think Dalen is going to be one of those players that maybe gets like 8 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes just randomly there, and he's going to try to show out in those minutes. I just hope he doesn't try to do too much. If he plays well, if he plays that defense, if he shows that court vision, by the end of the season, we're going to talk about Dalen Terry averaging 16 to 18 minutes per game for the Chicago Bulls team, especially if Kobe White is still very inconsistent. Yes, he doesn't offer nearly the shooting upside that Kobe White does, but he does get you easy offense by the way he plays defense, by his passing ability, by his ability to run up and down the court and that energy. So we'll see. Like I said, I want to see Kobe succeed, and I do think Kobe, with a full offseason, hopefully a little bit more locked in, he's already shown he's doing more things when his shot isn't falling. But if Kobe, for some reason, starts to falter, Dalen Terry is a dog and ready to take those minutes and gobble those up whenever he gets the opportunity to. Was that a pause moment? That may have been a pause moment. From Billy, the guard did, in fact, have discomfort in the knee after a ramped-up practice schedule of Thursday, Friday, and Monday. The Bulls went hard 5-5 those days, and LaVine's knee felt it. And there you go. Spice Bands, my little brother Spice Bands says, nah, this camera Ultra HD, bro. So my camera's a 6K camera. I actually have, again, not a flex. This is us talking since it came up. I actually have a 12K camera that I have yet to unleash because I'm just worried, like, 12K on a stream, even though it downsamples it to 1080p, would probably kill the stream. But I will tell you this, I'm not even going to tell y'all when I start using the 12K camera to actually record my pre-recorded videos. I just want to see if people pick up the difference, because I tell you what, it literally looks like I'm about to hop out the screen at you, like when I see it. I've tested it on a couple of things. I actually did, because you guys may or may not know, I'm a photographer and videographer by trade. So I actually did a short film for Mass Appeal using the 12K camera, and that motherfucker is crispy. Do you think Io will break and become an all-star? Not this season. Do I think that, is it a possibility that Io can become an all-star? Yeah, if you look at some of the players that became all-stars just by playing in the way that their team played, picking up better roles, there's a chance, right? We haven't even seen Zoe be an all-star yet, but I don't think this, I'll tell you what though, if Io becomes an all-star this season, the Bulls are a championship contender. If Io DeSumo has that type of leap to where he's an all-star this year, the Bulls are a championship contender all the way. MC Season says Nation Station and Aiden are two of the most realist, no gimmicks, just straight up love for the Bulls, especially Aiden over at the Bulls show. Aiden over at the Bulls show is nothing but straight up just love for the team, bro. Ricky Fontaine says Haize be giving them Captain America and Optimus Prime speeches. Listen, y'all, back in the day, like when I played sports, like I was always that guy, right? And even my kids now, like I absolutely am that guy that I motivate my kids. Like we be in here having church. Like my kids will literally be like, church, after I motivate them. Thoughts on Io joining CHGO? Maybe he can stop by Chicago Bulls Central. Well, we don't know like what it is. He's definitely not just joining their Bulls podcast, right? I don't think you're not going to have an active player on the team that your team's covering. And he did talk when he was on Waddle and Sylvie about wanting to get into podcasting. So CHGO probably reached out and was like, hey, we heard you wanted to get into podcasting, man. Hey, we got something for you. I'm not saying he's not going to pop up on CHGO Bulls. He probably will. But more than likely, they're probably going to work him into doing something different too. He may have his own show on there. All right, No Limit Keith. Just all I can say then is come back. And let's see what they do. Let's see. Like, you got to stop thinking. Like, it's not like Zach LaVine's 20 points and then it's like, oh, well, nobody else. Like, there's another player who's going to step in to get that opportunity. And even then, that does open up other opportunities for Vooch, who's a big-time scorer, DeMar, who's a big-time scorer, Patrick Williams, who can be. So it's not like we're just going in and it's not like it's this, oh, well, we just automatically going to have 20 points less than what we would have had. That's not how it works in basketball, bro. Keep the energy, Haize. Excited to be back for all these end of the world fans acting like the season is over because Zach is sitting tonight. Bro, you already know, man. Like the sky is falling. Bulls fans are back. We coined that last season, and they're back in full force, right? Already. I already said that was a pause moment, bro. Man. As soon as I said it, I was like, yeah, that's a pause. That was definitely a pause. Bro, 12K Dent. Listen, man. One thing I have obsessions in life. Bulls gear, but all Chicago sports gear, right? Y'all haven't even started to see my White Sox gear because I don't cover the White Sox. Between the Bulls merch, Bears merch, White Sox merch, I have a little bit of Cubs merch. Right there, I can probably go 100 days without doubling up. Then when you add in regular clothes, I'm a graphic tee collector, things like that. Like, listen. But outside of that, it's cameras and lenses. I literally have like this camera here is a almost $5,000 camera. The camera I use to record the Daily Show on Bears and Bulls Central over on the other set, the other side of the studio. That's a $2,000 camera. I got another $2,000 camera that I use to travel with. It's my travel camera, so I don't have to tear this shit down in the studio. And then the 12K joint was a $9,000. I literally have somebody's retirement and pension in cameras just in the studio. It's just sitting in here. No flex, then proceeds to flex. Red bearded bastard. You're funny, Steve-O. By the way, Steve-O will be seen on Chicago Sports Central and NBA Central at some point this season. So y'all just be on the lookout for that. That's it. Listen, we building a team over here, bro. Like, it's so funny that this started with my passion for the Chicago Bulls, and then I started Chicago Sky Central, then started Chicago Bears Central. That now spun off to Chicago Sports Central with the Cognac Boys, who are going to start posting content there as well. And then we have NBA. Like, listen, this all started from just love. And now here we are, bro. It is what it is. Reginald Short in the building says, hey, Haize, can you make a case why the Bulls are better than the Miami Heat and Philly? And do you think the window has closed for Miami? Philly, no. I don't think the window has closed for either team. But I say this, while everybody's talking about the Bulls didn't get the talent that they thought, Miami lost talent. They lost talent. They didn't really replenish it or replace it with anything either. Losing PJ Tucker on that team, I think is going to be more felt than what some people are thinking. Now, they still do have Jimmy. They still do have a hellified roster. They got Tyler Hero coming off the bench. They still have a lot of talent on that team. But I'm looking at this, and again, we don't have Zach LaVine, but I'm looking at a fully healthy, minus Lonzo, Chicago Bulls team can definitely match up well with the Miami Heat at all times. So, I'm seeing it. And while Bam, is a technically undersized center, he's giving Vooch fits at times. This new focus Vooch, I can't wait to see how it plays against Bam. But like that team's front line, you think our front line is thin? This front line is thin. Now, Nikola Jovic, who I would have loved to see the Bulls draft, is there. He hasn't played much in preseason or anything like that. We'll see how they develop him along. But they're also missing Victor Oladipo, Duncan Robinson, who got that bag and immediately forgot how to play basketball after he got his bag. Philly, I'm not ready to make that. Listen, I'm a Bulls homer and a fan, but I'm not even ready to make that conversation yet. I'm not. Bro, what the fuck? I just finished watching your recent video. This merch is fire, bro. What the hell? Listen, there's nobody who matches me in Bulls merch. This is just not. I got hats that I haven't even wore yet that I bought like a year ago because I don't have a fit to go with it yet. We got merch, bro. We got the merch, man. We got the merch. Tony Wiley says, Miami about to dust Chicago. I remember when we opened the season last season against the Raptors, and there were people in there like that was the first appearance of Petty Roosevelt too. There were people in there. Oh, there's no world in which the Bulls beat the Raptors tonight. I'm just saying. This is basketball. Keep talking. Do you think PJ makes the Sixers a contender? If not, how long before Joel demands a trade, and what would you give up for him? Oh, no, Joel makes that team a contender. Like, as long as Joel Embiid is healthy and you have Maxey playing the way that he does, and you have James Harden seems to be the thing. I say this, right? The thing that's going to take teams like the Sixers, the Cavs, that could possibly take those teams to a higher level than what I give them credit for right now is if Donovan Mitchell if Donovan Mitchell accepts a role to where he's like, you know what? I'm not going to take 22 shots to get 26 points. I'm going to take 18 shots. I'm going to take the best 18 shots available, and I'm going to let these other players play off me. I'm about to let these young guys go to work. If Donovan Mitchell ever adopts that mindset, you watch the hell out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Until then, them both chunking up 23 to 24 shots each to get a total of 44 points between the two of them, that's always going to be beatable to me. Now, their front court is dangerous. I've said this. I'm on record for saying this. Cleveland's front court is going to be the best front court in the year in the next 2 or 3 seasons. Barring injury, they will be. But that backcourt is a little iffy there, man. That backcourt's a little iffy there. Now, Sixers, they're a contender as long as they have Joel Embiid. That's just the way that I think it. Oh, Ricky remembers the Raptors are the gatekeepers, they said. Yeah, the gatekeepers to the Eastern Conference, they said. Absolutely. That was crazy, man. That was crazy. Big night for Patrick and Kobe. Time to carry some weight. You are absolutely right. That's from the Daily Insomnia podcast. Listen, there's no more free rides. And hopefully Patrick Williams realizes that now. There are no more free rides for you, P. Will. You have a bad 3 to 4 game stretch. We got a too young, but we got an athletic, hungry Javonte Green with that dog in him ready to take over if needed. Period. And you already know y'all know how I feel about Dalen Terry. Dalen Terry just don't got that dog in him. Dalen Terry got Joakim Noah living up inside him. The spirit of Joakim Noah, even though Joe is still alive, is living inside of Dalen Terry. As the train passes. Living inside of Dalen Terry. Y'all better watch out. Y'all better watch out. How long before guys like Harden and Jimmy are on the decline? I think they both are already on the decline. Harden is definitely on the decline. That's why him adapting his game and turning more into being able to pass and let his scoring ability, let players play off him, can extend his career hugely. Jimmy is on a decline. It's just the fact that Jimmy is still a hell of a defender and a two-way player, and he's going to be good, but Jimmy is absolutely on a decline. It just hasn't been much of one yet. But we're starting to see those players age for sure, and you're starting to see absolutely. They're absolutely on a decline. Jimmy Butler is 230 pounds? Jesus. That's crazy. You want Obama to be for the Bulls where Drake is for the Raps? I can only dream. Wow. That would be hilarious to have a former president. That's crazy. Do you think the Bulls will make any moves by the trade deadline? KT, I have been very vocal on this. It's not going to be anything major. And for those that are thinking they're going to flip Kobe by the trade deadline, like the way that I see it is this. The only way the Bulls make a major trade at the trade deadline if things have gone horribly, horribly wrong for this team. If this team by the trade deadline has like 18 to 22 wins, heads are about to roll. But I don't think that they do. I think that they made their bet on continuity. Now, if a disgruntled superstar becomes available in something that we don't see right now, there's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to be what some Bulls fans are thinking. I just don't. Haize, you have to use logic, bro. If after 6 months Zach isn't ready for one game of basketball, he's not going to be ready a week from now or a season of it. I predict another surgery come. I'm sorry, JDH. I love you, but that's stupid. Oh, my God. It's not that he's not ready to play basketball. That's why it's called load management. It's not an injury. He isn't injured. And keep in mind, his knee, it was nothing structural. What he had done was routine for anybody who's had an ACL surgery. About 5 years after that, they have that scope. It's normal. No, like, come on. JDH, I love you, brother. But this one, you tripping, fam. You tripping. Jimmy Wade 230, 10 coming from the Dreads. That's crazy that Jimmy Butler is 230 pounds, bro. And he doesn't look heavy at all, so it's just muscle. This one's from James Jameson. Says, do you see us letting Tony go and picking up someone like Melo? I definitely think that there's a chance. I think keep in mind that deadline, or not deadline, but that date where the Bulls can cut Tony Bradley and add a veteran and not go into the luxury tax, that applies for every team in the NBA. So I do think Melo probably has a promise from a team that there's going to do something like that, because considering Melo, he had an efficient season scoring off the bench. It wasn't for a good team, but like he scored 13 points off a game, an efficient 13 points off a game at a position that teams need that type of scoring. I just can't imagine that he just didn't get a deal at all. If they do decide to cut Tony Bradley and they bring in Melo, would love it. Love it, because then at that point, what do you still do with Javonte? Javonte can play any position. At this point, you just put Javonte's just a baller. But to be able to have a true backup for Patrick Williams, I think would do this team some big, like a bench that we already expecting to be a great bench. Come on, man. Low man, I agree. Like Chuck, I agree. He should absolutely be playing today. Absolutely be playing today. Absolutely. That's the thing. I agree that he should be playing. I'm not making an excuse for that. I'm just saying we need to keep as far as the injury. But should Zach LaVine be playing game one of a season that has so many questions? Abso-fucking-lutely. He should be playing tonight. Period. The fact that he's not is crazy. Steve-O said, I took all of God's grace to contain but Petty Roosevelt right now. Listen, man, we're trying to hold off having an appearance of Petty Roosevelt into a long time, bro. Yeah, basketball is back with some of these comments in this chat. Hey, listen, I love it, bro. Like I said before, I've been a member of this C-Red Nation for my whole life. I've seen the online community grow. That shit is like, y'all are hilarious, bro. Y'all are hilarious. I love y'all. Any chance a contender with no depth on the front court offer a late second round pick for Tony or Mark? No. I'm telling you what right now. You're not getting an offer of anything. For Tony Bradley is one of those players, unfortunately, that you would have to send a pick probably for a team to take him. As far as Marco, you probably could get a second round pick back for Marco because, listen, there's still a lot of promise for Marco, who's still a young player who has all the offensive bag you want. It's just defense keeps him from being on the court. Period. The Lowry and Io matchup will be a good indicator of how much Io has improved from last year and that added muscle, right? Like, Pat the designer always says that that Kyle Lowry had a BBL over the course of the summer. But, I mean, listen. Io and his strength is going to be a big part, and his versatility defensively. They're going to switch Io. They're going to use Io or try to use him, not as much as because they switched freaking Lonzo on some fives at time. They're not going to do that with Io, but don't be surprised if they switch Io between the 1, 2, and 3 as far as guarding, not playing, but he's going to guard some 1, 2s, and 3s this season for sure. I hate to bring it up again, bro, but do you think it's possible Zach wanted to play, but they wouldn't let him? I absolutely think that's a possibility. I definitely think that that's a possibility for sure. On a non-basketball note, I'm having trouble deciding which show is better, Andor or House of the Dragon. Andor. I'm a Star Wars guy. Andor is literally everything I wanted from a Star Wars show. Everything that I ever wanted from a Star Wars show. And that's not to say that The Mandalorian isn't great too, but Andor is on a different level, bro. On a completely different level. I feel like Bulls and Bears fans can be as emotionally stable as teenage girls PMS and goes towards me as well. Oh, bro, that's sports fans in general, bro. Like when you look at it like this, like let's just, I'm gonna make an analogy here. Sports fans, right? We love seeing what player is upset with a team, who can be moved, gossiping about what player is gonna go where, this player doesn't like this player, all that, right? We get so emotionally invested at times that if our team loses, it affects our emotional state. right? That definitely sounds like PMSing. We get so mad at front offices for not doing that, what we think that they should be doing. We get pissed off. Like, absolutely, sports fans in general have a lot of overlapping with teenage girls, and I don't even mean that derogatorily. It's just the fact of the matter. Best duo on the team outside of Debo and Zach: Alex Caruso, Andre Drummond. I think the chemistry that they can build up on that bench unit is going to be dangerous, in my opinion. Lord Zoe Bay says Marco and Kostas is going to be a problem in 2023. Kostas Antetokounmpo sucks. Ass. Kostas ain't going to be a problem for nobody but his mama. Y'all then got Haize started. He already think he from Tatooine. That's fucking hilarious, bro. Haize, can I agree with you more? Andor is amazing. Did you know it's the least viewed Star Wars show on Disney Plus by a large margin? Really? That's fucking crazy, bro. And it's amazing. Oh my God. Like, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Real Starscream, bro, you're an OG around here. Do you know what? I already explained it. You gotta rewind the video. I'm not doing it again. I can't explain it again. Y'all gotta stop. Costa's gonna be in your DM like Crawford. Listen, I wish another NBA player would try to be tough in my DMs. You see, Jordan Crawford ain't say shit. Motherfucker talked all that shit. Listen, bro. Y'all not about that life. Like, I'm crazy as shit. My guy not only spitting facts about the Bulls, but he also loves Andor. That show gets a much unjustified hate as the Bulls do. Absolutely. I need to bring back the Film Frequency. For those that some of you guys know, I used to have this film and TV podcast called the Film Frequency that I got away from because my co-host had to take a step back. But like, I just got too many goddamn shows, bro. I got too many shows, man. Dragic and Drummond got to get the bench going tonight. Absolutely agree with you, brother. Absolutely agree with you. Let's see. Has the Chicago Bulls announced who is starting yet? Let's see what we got. Dun, 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 dun. No. Oh, yep. Alex Caruso is officially starting. They just literally tweeted this 1 minute ago. So our starters tonight: Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. So that means Gordon is going to get a lot of minutes off the bench. A lot of them. And don't be surprised if Dalen Terry as well comes in there. Reginald Short says, yo, which actor from Andor would you pay for? I'm not paying for an interview for no motherfucker. Only person I would ever pay for an interview is Derrick Rose and Michael Jordan. Other than that, y'all niggas ain't special to me. I know you crazy. You threaten me once a week at least. Listen, that's what friendship is, bro. That's big, motherfucker. You gonna wake up and see 4 trees outside, names the Antetokounmpo brothers, and I will take every one of them motherfuckers down. You 4 tall motherfuckers show up at my house, you leaving with bullets. All of you, period. I ain't got nothing to prove. You show up at my house because of a YouTube, you getting shot. Then you're gonna be on the news saying Giannis got shot because a YouTuber talked shit about his brother. Now he's out for 2 seasons. You don't want that. You don't want that, bro. You don't want that. You don't want. I will change your career. You don't want that. You wouldn't pay for no. I feel like Joakim Noah isn't even the type to charge for an interview. Like, I feel like Noah, all you got to do is be like, hey man, you got edibles there for me? Noah, I got you covered. I got every edible you can want. All right, I'll be there. I'll be there. Like, that's what I feel. Like, I don't even think you got to pay Noah. You just got to have some good. Ricky, well, Chicago Bulls Central is flagged. Hey, man, listen. It is what it is. I'll tell you what. I tell you what. It'll make it look like what Paul Pierce went through as light work. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Paul Pierce going to look and be like, damn, that's what they did to Giannis? Shit. That's what's gonna happen, bro. Don't show up in my crib. That's all I can say. Don't show up in my crib. Don't show up in nowhere I want unless you. Now I'll fight you, but if four of you motherfuckers show up, listen, definitely about to shoot somebody. You ain't even got to worry about it. Definitely finna shoot somebody. I got my conceal and carry too. Y'all all finna be shot. That's what's finna happen. It's finna be four brothers that all became victims at the same goddamn time. Wipe out the whole family. Period. All right, let's move on. Geeking out on Star Wars now. Maybe Luke Skywalker can play the Force. Isn't Mark Hamill like 5'7" at that? Like, let's see. Mark Hamill is 5'9". Billy Donovan would absolutely play him at the center. Absolutely play him at the center. Absolutely. What's your zodiac, Haize? I'm a Sag. Sagittarius. Proudly. All right, y'all. We got about 25 minutes to game time. We've been streaming for almost an hour. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Thank you for tuning in. This is probably one of the biggest pregame shows we've had. Like, usually the pregames are like 30 people. So thank you so much. I know you guys are excited for the Bulls season. Make sure you guys are here for the halftime hangout and post-game live streams as well, where we'll break everything down. Hopefully we're going to be talking about a solid Bulls game, whether it's win or lose. Hopefully this team looks formidable. If we're down by like 20 points in the first half, y'all need to show up even more for halftime hangout, because Petty Roosevelt may be taking the helm at that point in time. But with that being said, man, I love you guys, man. Make sure you follow the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, text or voicemail 773-270-2799. We up out of here. I will see you guys at halftime. Go Bulls. See Red. Peace, y'all.